Okay, doke. So here's what the base list is going to be looking like. We want to add Tergrid. Do that. Go to 0. Okay. I'm thinking, what, 2 or 3? Let's try 3 for now. Nether Spirit is the only creature card in your graveyard. If we can return it. If we're running Tergrid, Nether Spirit's not great, as seeing this is a creature on that side. Pox is a bit non-bowy. Ba-da-ba. Well, first things first, I like removal. We want to keep that. We like the discard. This is just to reorganize. So we'll have 8 rack effects with the Rack and Shrieking Affliction. No Davriel, understandable. The Lantern here is not going to be terrible, and neither is Tergrid themselves, so we need to cut 3 cards total here. I'm looking at some number of Wrenchmind and Smallpox. My initial thought is to cut 1 Wrenchmind and 2 Smallpox here, and go with a 2-2 split on those cards. Smallpox isn't too great when we're trying to get to the 5 mana for Tergrid. And Lily's a strong card. And if we're playing Tergrid, we don't want to be casting Smallpox at a later time. So yeah, we'll do a 2-2 split. And then that gives us 12 targeted singleton discard. 2 targeted double discard. And then Smallpox's non-targeted stuff. 8 rack effects. And then Tergrid / the Lantern as another way to either bolt them or make them discard or get things because we're going to be making them discard. Liliana of the Veil here seems pretty decent. Again, Lily's just a great card. And then we have Push and Thirst. I feel that's a good split. Mutavaults, Castles, Swamps, Orberg. 23 lands. That feels like enough lands. I'm not sure how I feel about the 4 Mutavault, 4 Castle. But I know we probably want Mutavault as one of our win cons, so we want 4 of those. Castle's mediocre, but not terrible. And then we've got a lot of basics. How many swamps? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, the answer is 23 minus 12, 11. Okay, that's enough swamps. Orberg's fine. Yeah, I feel this seems like a pretty good place to start. As far as sideboard's concerned, I don't really know what the meta's involving right now. So this is each player discards 3. That just seems overkill. If we're running Tergrid in Tergrid's Lantern. So we can swap those out. We've got 6 removal spells for the early game things against. We've got enough creature removal with the 6, the 3, and the 2 that we should be fine against those prowess and fast decks. Leyline of the Void. There's not a lot of graveyard decks going around, so I don't know if I like all 4 Leyline of the Voids. I know we want some number. Well, or do we take out Leyline of the Voids and do something like Soul Guide Lantern? Decisions. I like Collective Brutality, Plague Engineer, Pithing Needle, Ratchet Bomb. Those are all good. Trying to think of other cards in black. I know one card that I would like. It's not needed. But it's always a decent card to hide behind. 2 Ensnaring Bridges. That'll allow us to, if say they've dropped down a couple of, if we're facing like E-Tron, where these pushes and Bloodchief's Thirst aren't great, we can then hide behind a bridge that they have to get rid of. Needle's good. Yeah. I think this might be the list that we'll be running Thursday. Don't see anything that I really want to change off the top of my head. We'll definitely take this into a couple of Q games first on Thursday to make sure that it's not god awful. Do we have any artifacts of destruction in mono black? No, which is why we have the ratchet bombs, because that way we can hit ratchet bombs for Chalice, because we've got a lot of 1-drops. Okay, now I'm starting to make sense. Okay. Oh, that's what we want. Some beads. Feed the swarm to destroy an enchantment. I would like to feed the swarms over to Leyline of the Void. Right? Yeah. One Leyline, 1 Cobrew. So that gives us 3 ley lines. So that way if we hit a graveyard deck, we're fine. 2 ratchet bombs to deal with artifacts or creatures. Pithing Needle to name pesky things. Plague Engineers for the tribals. Collective Brutality just as a way to do discard, gain some life, or get rid of a creature. Ensnaring Bridge, that way we have something that we can hide behind. And Feed the Swarm is either even more creature removal, but mainly because if they play, say, Leyline of Sanctity, we wouldn't be able to target them. And we do a lot of targeting, especially if we're going to be doing Tergrid. So the idea is going to be we're 8-rack, and we've got Tergrid as either a great way for a 5-mana, because as a god, when we're making them discard every turn, we'll be able to do fun things, or as the lantern to make them either discard or take damage. If they're taking damage, it probably means that we've got a good amount of these out, and then they'll have to eventually pick, do they die by the lantern or do they die from the Rack and Shrieking Affliction? So as you saw, we did a bit of brewing, and now we've got the cards, and we're going to take this into some Q games and see how we do. Ideally, I hope to get through 3 Q games. We've got enough play points to technically do only 1. So we'll see how that goes. And this will be a bit of shorter on the videos. But other than that, Let's have some fun with it and see how well Tergrid fits into an 8-rack shell. There we go. We have found ourselves a modern queue. All right, we lost the die roll, which is fine, especially for a 8-rack. We've got a lot of discard here. We'll try it. The second smallpox feels a bit awful. But other than that, the Raven's Crime, Inquisition, and first smallpox seems good. Opponents burn. Okay. Well, this will be fun. This we draw a rack. Inquisition. Helix, Charm, Skewer. We take Skewer. That way they can only do one a turn. So they play out the land, and then they have 4 in hand. Okay. Target player discards a card. Then we have the retrace ability. Go ahead and make him discard yet again. All right, got rid of Bolt and Helix. Opponent's down to 2. Next turn we have Rack plus discard. We might be off to a pretty decent start here. I'm assuming this is the Boros Charm in hand. Opponent's down to 1 card left. And we don't know what it is. They hold. Interesting. I kind of like double rack here. We will hold the Orborg. They deal 4 to us. Guess we'll go ahead and play the land. We can't Raven's Crime until we draw another land. But opponent's taking 2 twice. Or, yeah, opponent's takes 4. It has to hold. Worst case. Ooh, we have a smallpox. We go down to 8. Land? Shrieking Affliction. That'll work. All right, we're down to 7, but opponent's taking 9 here. And they have 1 draw. Looks like we got game 1 against the burn. So, sideboard plan. Cobrew? Doesn't seem bad. Gains life. Does some more discard stuff. Blood Chiefs and pushes are fine. The Thought Seizes are pretty bad here. I don't want to be losing life. Take those out. And what else? We don't really have anything else. Like, we could bring in Ratchet Bomb. Ratchet Bomb doesn't seem terrible if they get a massive board state. But then again, Bridge. We can just hide behind Bridge. We'll just put in the bridges here. And let's see how we can do against Burn. I know we want the Brutality because it gains life, kills creatures, and all three modes are great against them. Okay. Interesting hand. Turn 1 Rack, turn 2 Wrench Mind. But then we're doing nothing. I like this bet much better. Keeping, and then we're bottoming. It's either Bridge or Lily. Bottom Bridge. I'm hoping that they kept a not so creature dense hand. Goblin Guide comes down. Guide shows us a Raven's Crime. Okay. This we draw. Let's go ahead and play the Swamp and go ahead and Inquisition. I don't like if they've got something. Okay. So they don't have much going on here. We can go ahead and just get rid of the Rift Bolt. We take 2 next turn. Bit unfortunate, but then we have Bloodchief's Thirst plus Raven's Crime. Or if they play a land, Second Guide. Okay. Interesting that they're choosing to hold. Guide gets land and something else. Wrench Mind. Okay. This we draw. This'll happen. Bloodchief's Thirst. Go ahead and hit there. And then make them discard. Next turn we have Lily Downtick. And then we'll have the rack set up pretty well here. One pitched a Mountain as Swift Spear. Awkward. Guide hits Mutavault. That's actually not a bad hit. So they'd be in top deck mode if we go Rack Wrench Mind. They couldn't top deck any one thing to kill us. Target player discards 2. Mutavault. That rack. Say go. And we're looking at Lily plus Raven's Crime. Go ahead and always yield. We're at 10. We're a bit low here. Bolts us. We take 7. Down to 4. Meaning we can't really Lily here. At the same time, we kind of have to. But we're drawing Shrieking Affliction. Raven's Crime's a dead card. Liliana here is down tick, gain us at least 1 life. That's probably they sack Guide. They sack the Swift Spear. We go ahead and land these 2. Hope opponent doesn't rip a burn spell off the top. If they do, they get us. Swift Spear. We're not dead. Yep. Guide happens. Rack is revealed. Well, that's fun. We go down to 1. This we draw. Let's go ahead and do the rack. Uptick Lily. And pass the turn. Sadness noises. Opponent takes 9. It's a close. Oh. Whoops. With the rack draw, if instead of holding this back as a blocker, I win. Okay. That was just a complete and utter misplay. We had that game. Would be 1-0 right now. Again, haven't seen Tergrid at all. So how well does it fit in a burn in a shell? Would I like to play first? No. Well, we've got Tergrid, Crime, and Cobrew. We'll keep. Lava Spikes us, passes the turn. Runs down to 5 cards in hand. Second Tergrid, not so great. It's just a Skewer. And is this a triple moded Collective Brutality? Bolts us and skewers us. Okay. So just 2 mode. Lock Thwain. This. Cast for 2 modes. Target opponent, target opponent. Pitch a Raven's Crime. And take the Lightning Bolt. We're at 13, they're at 18. They've got a card that they cannot cast. Till they find a bleh. Anasaurs. This Smallpox. Well, go ahead and make them discard, just that they're not holding anything in hand. Earth Bolt comes off the spin, smacks our face, I'm assuming. They don't want to hit their own face. We go down to 10. Opponent has a Swamp Sunbaked Canyon. Fun. Land here? Land. Awkward land. Set a stop on their draw step. Stop in their upkeep. Do this. Orborg, keep the untapped one. That Tergrid's Lantern. They're going to be able to sack plenty of things. But also got plenty of life, and we don't have any threat. Land here means we can double activate. This we draw. Well, we drew a land. Let's go ahead and see what they want to do. White, red. Helix Charms takes us down to 6. They go down to 11. This is newly controlled. So black, Smallpox. No. Untap. And make them pick. They go down to 8. One card in hand. Okay. Make him pick. Skullcrack. Okay. We go down to 3. They're at 5. And they lose. Crack. Animator Mutavault. Combat. Swing for 2. Rack trigger. They can try to draw into the win here. They would need exactly a 1-mana bolt. They'd need exactly bolt. Oh no, because they draw 1 card. So if they have land, spell, or spell. Opponent concedes. There we go. 1-0. There we go. We found ourselves a match. Okie doke. Let's see how we can do here. We've got a Shrieking Affliction, a Thoughtseize, a Bloodchief's Thirst, and a Lily. This is actually pretty tempting to keep. We'll try it. One wishes us the best of luck. We don't need to stop on their turn there anymore. Okay, well, they're doing Vision. Okay, so this is Storm? Probably? Thoughtseize isn't going to be terrible here. Go ahead and Thoughtseize. Okay, it's not Storm. It is Prowess. Well, their hand is not terrible. The Thoughtseize there is great to be able to stop that Stormwing, by the way. They Gut Shot. Sounds good. Assuming Gut Shot light up the stage. Yep. The 3 of their cards are that. And I'm assuming this is other light up the stage. Yeah. Okay, so Manamorphose, 3 lands, 1 unknown. Go ahead and drop that and drop the Shrieking Affliction. Pass the turn. We get to see how we do versus a blue-red Prowess. I'm assuming they play Steam Vents here. Anamorphoses first, meaning Stormwing entity? I can see an argument for Sprite Dragon. Okay, second Manamorphose. Makes me go, opponent doesn't have much. Soulscar Mage. Steam Vents. Shocked in. We shocked in and then didn't do anything? Okay. Lily downtick? Go ahead and just clear their prowess creature out the way. If they don't kill Lily, we have a Lily uptick. If they do kill Lily, we have a Lily uptick. They draw an additional card off of their Islet. We knew about one of those. They find a Swiss Spear. Darn. There goes our Lily. Yep, one at Lily. Lily dies. We'll lose our wrench mind here. No, we'll ditch the smallpox. Cast the Blood Chief's Thirst. Get rid of the Swift Spear. And do that. Lily. Each player discards. We will discard Smallpox. Opponent pitches a Bloodstained Mire. So their hand is Islet and 4 Unknown. Islet's played, probably redrawn. Yep. Soulscar Mage. Yeah, that's a card. Interesting option here. Soulscar bolts the Lily. So that way Lily has to go up. Okay. Do we have a way to kill Lily? Gut shots the Lily. Lily dies. Sure. The rack. Wrench Mind. All right. Opponent's empty-handed. We're empty-handed. This is where we want to be. Especially when we've got Shrieking Affliction and rack. Tergrid's Lantern off the top here would be great. Because it says, do you take 3 or do you take 9? Or do you take 9 or do you take 6? One needs to basically one-shot us and they can't swing with their Soul Scar because we've got Mutavault. Lily. Opponent concedes. All right, we will begin sideboarding. This is the match where we want these Ensnaring Bridge and the Collective Brutalities. Plague Engineer isn't awful. We don't care about Pithing Needle. We don't care about Ratchet Bomb. Guess we cut. We like Thoughtseize to an extent. So I don't want to cut all of our Thoughtseize. We can shave on some of them, but not all of them. Wrench Mind's fine. Blood Chief's Thirst feels a bit slow, but it can deal with their 5-drop. I guess Raven's Crime can come out here. We'll keep in Thoughtseize. Okay. Yeah, I like this. Let's try it. Yeah, we've got a Thoughtseize, Cobrew, Afflictions. Opponent mulligan to 5. Are you running Leyline? Is opponent running Leyline of the Void or Leyline of Sanctity and hard mulling for it? If they do that, we have to concede. Well, no, because we have Shrieking Afflictions and Lily. And those don't target. They put 2 back. They're leading on a Visions. The Thoughtseize here looks pretty good. Two to the top. That is scary. Well, there's our land for Lily. Storming Entity, Sprite Dragon, and a Lightning Bolt? Okay, well, I'd take the Entity. Sprite Dragon comes down here. Gets in for one. Bridge. We can toss that. Cobrew. Free mode. Target, target, target. Have to ditch a bridge and an affliction. Okay, I mean, we'll take the lightning bolt. Their hand is light up the stage. And paying costs, Soulscar Mage. Cool. Makes this Lily downtick look real nice. Liliana. Downtick. And next turn is Affliction, Thoughtseize, Lily uptick. Visions goes for draw and scry. Bloodstained Mire is found. Opponent can't use their other card in hand. Or Borg. Go ahead and play out the Shrieking Affliction. Play out the Orborg. Why not? Do that. Do this. Uptick. Each player discards. We lose a Thoughtseize. They lose their draw effect. And we've got them on a 5-turn clock. Opponent's basically in play it or lose it mode. We draw Smallpox. Okay. Smallpox. So opponent can, if they draw off the Islet, that's fine by us. Cuts them down to 1 land here. Sacrifice our Orborg. Each player discards. Okie doke. Opponent's down to 7. Lily's big enough. And there we go. Opponent said, GG's, that's a cool deck. I agree. 8-Rack is such a fun deck when it works. We're 2-0 with 8-Rack. I was only planning on doing 3. So let's see what happens here. Darth Nerd is different than Skarns. We've had 3 different opponents. We won the die roll. We won't take the play. All right, we've got Rack, Wrenchmind, Thoughtseize, Lily. Great 7. Snow-covered plains into Sarah Ascendant. Okay, Martyr Proc. Martyr Proc's an interesting one. We'll go with the Inquisition. So path, sure. Have a path. Path my non-existent creatures? Take it in for one. We don't really care about forcing them. So we just Wrench Mind here. Assuming this is probably Pitched Path in a Plains. Pitched Path and Ghost Quarter. Okay. And they play to Plains. So their hand is 1 unknown. They play Plains. They've got 2 unknowns. 3 mana. Ranger, Captain of Eos. Okay. That's a bit on the scary side. Speaker of the Heavens is what they play. Here's what they get. So we're in trouble here if they crack the Ranger. I mean, they lose out on 3 damage if they crack Ranger. They crack Ranger. We will play a Swamp. Pass the turn. Since we can't do anything, we'll have... So that's a Speaker, which is unfortunate. One's going to have to gain more than just 1 life a turn here, though. Because we'll have... Rack Thoughtseize. Let's go ahead and Thoughtseize them. See what they're got going on over there. Brave the Elements. I have no idea what this card does. But they brave the elements. Get rid of Batterskull. And let's play down 2 racks. Pass the turn. Opponent takes 6. They swing for 2. Sounds good. They gain 2. And they play a Martyr. Upkeep, we draw a Lily. Play Lily, make them sack. See if they want to throw things at Lily. They get rid of their Martyr. They take 6. Assuming this is 1 at Lily, 1 at us. Oh, 2 at Lily. Cool. In case we had removal. Understandable. Upkeep, we draw. We draw yet another Orborg. Liliana. Each player discards. We'll discard one of these. They discard a land. They take 6. They play out another Ascendant. So Lily dies next turn. Assuming it's 2 at Lily, yep. Opponent gains some life. Target player sacks. They lose 1. We will go ahead and do this. We'll do it out there in step. Because we can do it at their end step. We don't need to tap out. Opponent's at 5. Squad Hawk. They get to put 3 cards into their hand. That's a great draw for them. Yep, and they get 3 Squad Hawks. Yes, I would like to draw a card. Inquisition seems pretty good. Land there hurts. So is Tergrid. The couple of times that I've hit Tergrid have been good. We're 2-0. But a lot of it's just rack. Opponent hits us for 3 here. We'll sadly be taking 2 off of this castle. What's opponent dropping? A Stone Forge? Okay. Maul of the Skyclaves is what they find. We're dead to them resolving the Maul anyway. They have 3 in hand. Boo hiss. Because we can make them discard. And do it again. They get rid of the other Squad Hawk. And then we take lethal. Because we can either make them sack. But that doesn't do anything. And now we die to their board state. And they're at 1. They gained just enough life to win that game. So Plague Engineer comes in here. I believe we can name human pretty safely. Human monk, human cleric, and martyr is a human cleric. So human's pretty safe. Cleric's also pretty safe. Doesn't get rid of anything more. So it's probably Plague Engineer to name human to stop them from being able to grow their things. And they go to 3, we go to 0. So Plague Engineer, I like. They've got a good amount of humans that are all X1s until they get to above 30 life. I'm betting we can keep them off of 30 life. Ratchet Bomb also doesn't seem bad. They've got a lot of 1-drops and 2-drops. As far as what does seem bad, Pox seems mediocre at best here from the aspect of they're going to have creatures, a good amount of creatures, so they get to pick their creature. But early Pox isn't terrible, especially if we can cut them off of land. So they don't have any artifacts, so Wrench Mind's pretty good to get them empty-handed. Crime, Inquisition, Thoughtseize. I can see getting some Thoughtseize here. Just from the aspect of we don't want to really be taking damage. And we didn't see anything above 3 that we want to be able to take. Doesn't mean that there won't be. They are white, which has me concerned about Leyline of Sanctity. Especially considering how we're already at a loss. want to go ahead and preemptively bring these in. We want to leave in the Tergrid. One crime, one affliction. To make room for those. Let's see how we can do here. All right. Typically, you don't want to take the player's rack, but we're going to. And then we're going to get a pretty great 7 and keep it. Go ahead and play out that swamp and Thought sees them. Their hand is Batterskull, Martyr, Squadhawk. I kind of like just taking Squadhawk here. It's take Batterskull. Why Batterskull? Because that way they have to discard 2 to Wrench Mind. They play a tapped Mistvale Plains. Go ahead and play that out. Go black, black. Wrench Mind. Discard 2. Hope to find a land here so we can go crime. Well, what's going to happen is... yeah. What they're doing is getting it to the point where they can Squadhawk and fill their hand to 7 or 6. So that's the downside to taking the Batterskull there. Is, well, yes, we did get rid of lands from them. They now have a pretty full hand that we're having to beat. But their Squadhawks can't grab anything else. A Liliana of the Veil, huh? Go ahead and Raven's Crime. Get rid of a card. It's probably a Squadhawk because they're wanting to Martyr, crack Martyr. And gain a good amount of life here. Go ahead and yield. Assuming they hit us for 1. Do they do nothing? I feel that's incorrect. I feel you definitely crack Martyr here. Martyr gain 15, you're at 35. Ruined Halo. They name the rack. Okay. And Plague Engineer is pretty good. Shrieking Affliction. Pass turn. We need a land. They play Martyr, crack Martyr. And they keep Martyr around. Interesting choice. This we draw. What a nice draw. I'm tempted to do Plague Engineer on Bird, but pretty sure we still Plague Engineer on Human. Because they do this and they reveal their hand is exactly what we expect. At which point, we name Bird. Would you look at that? Their hand is Squadhawks and Rangers. They only revealed 3. mean, we go bird. Mm-hmm. Okay, they ranger. They get themselves speaker. Makes sense. They want to be able to play an angel. And then they crack this ranger. And this is non-creature. So we need to hit our other plague engineer. So that we can name human. Yep. Plague engineer. Well. We could swing. They're not gonna attack with their speaker when their speaker makes them 4/4s every turn. Yep, they make a 4/4. They play out another speaker. Ouch. Plague engineer off the top. Still what we're rooting for. Bloodchief's Thirst ain't bad. We can Inquisition Bloodchiefs. Inquisition, get rid of a Squad Hawk. And Bloodchief's Thirst away. Yeah, Bloodchief's Thirst away one of the speakers so they don't make 2 angels a turn. Is the rack life loss or damage? Rack is damage. Okay. Stack them like so. Opponent loses 3. They can no longer use their speaker. Opponent gets in for 4. Sounds good. We go down to 12. Pithing Needle names the Liana of the Veil. Yep. Well, so we can either Raven's Crime, which doesn't buy us anything, or we can Lily and have no way to deal with the Pithing Needle. We can't swing. Their clock's just a wee bit faster. You're floating. Oh, because they can do this. Put a Squad Hawk on the bottom of their library. Put 2 Squad Hawks on the bottom of their library. Yep. And then they're going to play a Squad Hawk. And get 2 into hand. Or get 3 into hand. Stoneforge Mystic. That's a nice draw for them. Looks like we're going to be losing to Martyr Proc here. Great deck. And Ruined Halo and Pithing Needle. Absolutely brutal here. But hey. Sword of Light and Shadow, huh? Squad Hawk dies, but they get to put 2 in the hand. Yep. So the hand is Light and Shadow, Squad Hawk, Squad Hawk. Assuming they swing for 4. Because we have no way to block the flyer. Well, that black discard a land. No Tergrid for us. And we could animate swing. I don't like that line. I mean, we're just dead. And we'll swing with the Plague Engineer. They don't block. So they just take the damage and pass the turn. And we can animate here, block. Yep, but we're taking 6 in the air. Oh, that's a pretty nice effect for their deck. Oh, what? You're gonna... Okay. Mutavaults. Mutavault's not colored. Yeah, we lose Mutavault, but you don't... You don't get to keep it around. We go down to 4, and we draw Death. Alright. GG's to our opponent. They definitely got us there. 2-1 with the rack. We're gonna go ahead and call it there. It's only a short bit of magic. But hey. So overall, what did I think? It's 8-rack. It's very fun. The time that we got to utilize Tergrid against Burn was absolutely brutal to the Burn player. So that was fun. We didn't see it in the blue-red prowess matchup, but we just did 8-rack things and stopped them from being able to do anything. And then we closed out the game. And in that time, for our last match there, we didn't really see Tergrid, not a chance to use it. And they, you know, we could have made a different decision tree path. Would it have changed the outcome? Probably not. But that doesn't mean that there's not an optimal way to play that. And it might have turned out differently. We might have gotten a game. Overall, 8-rack's still a very fun list. And Tergrid works pretty well in it when you can hit it. You do have to cut back on the smallpox. As you see, we're down to only 2 because you really need to be able to hit that or get to the 4 to 5 mana. We never played the God side. We only played the Lantern side, but the Lantern side was what we're playing for, not necessarily for the God side. Mana base wise, I got unlucky and hit a lot of the Orborg. Maybe it's cut Orborg down to 3 and get in another swamp. That doesn't change the fact that we saw 3 to 4 Orborgs across each match. But I don't know. It's definitely something to look at and tune a bit. Sideboard felt pretty good though. The collective brutalities came in nicely. Feed the Swarms would have been nice if we had seen them to be able to destroy the Ruined Halo. We would have only lost 2 life. That would have been fine. We didn't play against in deck where we wanted Leyline of the Void. Plague Engineer was good. We named Bird. It's probably better to name Human in that scenario where we named Bird, as we were discussing. Ratchet Bomb, pretty safe way to deal with artifacts because Black doesn't have a way to deal with artifacts. Needles are definitely a great catch-all. Bridges, I don't know if we need bridges. the games where I brought them in, we shut them out of having creatures anyway. We've got 6 pieces of removal there targeted, and then we have 6 pieces of untargeted removal. So you've got a good amount of removal. Probably don't need these bridges. These could probably be something else. We'll be looking at that. Other than that, I liked the discard, like the 8 racks. Tergrid felt great when we hit it. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a good one, y'all.